Hi, I'm Sanaaya. I'm scared. I'm scared for my future. I'm scared for our future. And I'm scared for humanity. Today's world is clouded with greater intolerance, disinformation, polarization, bigotry, and ultimately a lack of compassion. As we've seen these core human values weakened and crushed, we ask ourselves whether there really is a way to maintain our humanity and who we are. But I am hopeful because there have always been solutions, from the ancients to many recent philosophies that cover how we should live as a society. Today, I want to focus on one such philosophy, one that has shaped my life, Jain philosophy. So, what is Jain philosophy? Let's go back to the 6th century BC. Around this time, Jainism was established alongside Buddhism, and Mahavir, the founder of Jainism's teachings, formed the foundation of its philosophy. His philosophy was built on these three core pillars: Ahimsa, non-violence; Aparigraha, non-attachment; and Anekantavada, pluralism. I want to show how these principles are now more than ever as relevant as they were 2,500 years ago. But more than that, I want to show that these aren't just ideas, but a way to live. 1. Anekantavada. No single perspective holds the entire truth. We live in an age of polarization. Conflicting personal beliefs, politics, and social media dominate our lives. When I was younger, I used to love to snuggle down in bed with my grandmother, where she would share her infamous stories, sometimes real, sometimes fictional. One of the few I really remember is the story of the blind men and the elephant. In it, there were once several blind men who were trying to define the elephant by touching different parts of it. One touches its tusk and thinks it's a spear, the other its trunk and thinks it's a rope, and the other its tail and believes it to be a snake. What happens next? They all argue. Anekantavada teaches us that we can never ever know the entire truth of any situation. And in fact, there is no whole truth to any situation. Everyone has their own beliefs based on their own perspectives and a right to their own opinions and way of being. Recognizing this brings tolerance, intellectual, social, and cultural. What does this mean in practice? It means that when we hear something that we don't agree with, we should just stop and listen, not react. And this way, we learn to listen to diverse perspectives. And this builds the foundations of tolerance, empathy, and peace, instead of polarization and fracture. And then perhaps the blind men would realize that they had come across the same elephant. 2. Aparigraha, the illusion of more. Aparigraha means non-attachment to material things. The pursuit of more has driven our economies, politics, and our daily lives. For me, the most significant way this is manifested is through inequality, as the privileged few continue to hold most of the world's wealth without the inclination to give back to those less fortunate. The gap between the rich and the poor is becoming more extreme. And as this inequality widens, social mobility, the wealth gap in nations, education, and health are all threatened. Let me be clear, this does not mean dismissing the idea of going ahead or having ambitions, but rather, with success comes the responsibility of giving back. We have many examples in Warren Buffett, the Tata family, and Bill and Melinda Gates, who have channeled their successes into doing what they can to make those better off who are less fortunate. The problems of today, like inequality, stem from this mindset of accumulation. And Aparigraha teaches us that we need to live a conscious life, consume only what is necessary, and to give back when we can. 3. Ahimsa, no harm. This is the heart of Jain philosophy, but it goes beyond physical harm. It is the absence of compassion and the unawareness of the consequences of our actions. Therefore, it means being aware not only of the impact of our actions, but of our thoughts and words as well. The most integral part of Jainism is the belief that there is life all around. Even the mountains, the rivers, the soil are considered to be living. To live by ahimsa is to therefore treat life in all its forms with empathy and respect. To live in a way that minimizes harm to the environment and to other living beings. And to care. Let me give you an example of how this still applies. Mass and fast consumerism is a threat to the environment and to us. It's driven climate change, biodiversity, and resource depletion. Here, living by ahimsa means considering the consequences of our actions to limit our impact on the environment and to other living beings. So while writing this talk, I realized that I was just putting down ideas that were simple and well known, nothing new or revolutionary. So why aren't we living by them, is the question I ask. It's not easy to do. It takes courage, it takes effort, and it takes awareness to make it happen. But think about it. If we put as much effort as we do put in the gym, in our studies, or in some way or form trying to fuel our own successes, as we do in these principles, I think we could go a long way in addressing the problems of today. So if there's one thing I want to leave you with, it's this. Jain philosophy isn't just about knowledge, it's about action. So while we often look forward, maybe it's time we look back and learn from the past. Thank you.